Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I'm Tim Laskus, and you're listening to The Tim Laskus Show. This is episode 75. Many of you out there have probably noticed that last week there were no episodes. Well, my wife and my son and I recently moved. We've been renovating this house, and man, I've just been going in circles with all the different things that I've been doing around the house and with work and stuff, and something had to go. It was my sanity or the podcast for a week, and so I gave up the podcast for 1 week. But I'm back, so don't worry. And anyway, this is 75, and we have Michelle Pippin on here, who is fantastic. She understands marketing, and she tells you the mistakes you have to avoid. She's a successful coach dedicated to women entrepreneurs, but men, hey, you could learn something too. She offers mastermind groups, courses, has a blog, and overall, she helps women increase their influence, income, and impact. Man, you're going to love the advice that she gives. She just brings it. I'm so happy and excited for you to listen to this episode. So get ready and enjoy.
The Tim Laskus Show, in search of entrepreneurial gold. Tim digs deep into the minds of his guests, entertaining, down to earth, and informative. Now, here's your host, Tim Laskus.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Now, you were telling me that you love hanging out with your family. You're looking for or looking forward to the July 4th, kind of celebration, because you're going to be blowing stuff up at your house. Is that true?
That's right. That's right. We live in a really, really rural area, and we love to light the sky up on July 4th. And my husband and son are actually going to get some fireworks out near you in South Carolina. So, yeah, I absolutely love it. And all things family and home are something I'm really passionate about.
Well, there's nothing like bringing a family together when you can have fires and blow stuff up. That nothing brings a family together like that.
That's right. That's right.
For sure. Well, Michelle, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself professionally, and what are you currently working on?
Well, I tell you, I'm a one-trick pony, really. My expertise is only an inch wide, but a mile deep, and I help business owners increase their income, their influence, and their impact, and I help them do it on their own terms, which I think is really the most important part of what I do. Is helping people create success their own way, making the money that you want, creating the fame that you want if that's important to you, but doing it all on your terms according to your priorities so that you don't find yourself ankle-chained to a success story that you don't like. So that's really what I do. And what I'm working on right now is Women Who Wow. We are an international digital membership of seriously driven women entrepreneurs. And we've now got members in all 50 states and 8 countries. And so that's what I'm working on day in and day out. I love being with my tribe. I love hanging out with women who have similar drive to me regarding business and in life in general. And I love sort of what we're creating in this little movement.
Now, I was looking at your website. See, I mean, you have so many great things going on. Looks like you have some mastermind groups, you have coaching, you have a blog, you offer courses. So if somebody, comes to you and wants, what does it look like when a potential client comes to you? What are they typically asking for, and how do you usually help them?
Yeah. So what they're typically looking for always is the money part of their business isn't quite working out, or the money's fine, but the money's coming into their business in a way that's leaving them feeling drained and exhausted and kind of running like from pillar to post and having this existence that they don't really love. And so it always comes down to the money piece for me. So when typically when business owners find me, I call them like they're already coaching victims or blueprint victims or whatever, because they've already tried a bunch of other big names. They've already tried a bunch of other systems, and they found that it's still not working for them. And so that's really how they find me. They're just looking for some different way to do business so that they can have the money that they want, but also the time freedom and the lifestyle freedom that they want. And typically that's where they find me. And I think that's in some ways, I want to get kind of ahead of that so they find me first. But the truth is, a lot of what you'll find on my blog and in my programs and in the Women Who Wow membership, it kind of flies in the face of conventional business wisdom. And I think people have to kind of try it the Business 101 way, the way that everybody's talking about, before they realize, hey, there's something wrong here. And maybe the way everybody tells me to do business isn't quite right, because it does have an 80% failure rate after all. And it kind of opens their mind to doing things very, very differently in their business. And so they can expect a different result.
What's kind of one of the big fallacies and mindset that people have about business that kind of keeps them from being successful?
Well, I think there's many. I've always said that if you can't find a really great example to follow, you can look at what most people are doing and do the exact opposite. The truth is, the statistics tell us all we need to know about what we learn about business. Essentially, it is if most people are doing it, it's probably wrong. And so that's something that we need to just kind of be aware of. But the one thing I feel like everybody kind of accepts as true until it doesn't prove true for them is the fact that they think they have to get their name out there in order to make money. And a lot of business owners don't even try to sell anything until they, quote unquote, get their name out there. And they spend a lot of money and time and energy trying to get their name out there. And the truth is, if we just shift that a little bit, it really starts working. So when you try to get your name out there, then you fall victim to advertising schemes and marketing schemes and all these things that have you kind of, praying and waiting. And if you shift it a little bit and say, you know what, I don't care about getting my name out there. What I care about is getting my ideal clients in here, where I get paid, in my office or on my website, then it's a slight shift in wording, but it's actually something that that turns the ship around, because your actions now are aligned with not just telling people who you are, but solving problems so that they're coming in your door and can go deeper with you.
Because there seems to be a trend now of, just giving, and, without really asking. And I think people may get lost in that when they give and they spend so much money and time and effort giving everything away for free. And then they've just kind of spent everything. And then they never have any kind of return on as far as clients or anybody who's really paying them. Is that true?
Absolutely. And I tell you what I call the expert market, the coaches, the speakers, the authors, like they're the ones who are, really, they're giving it all away. And they are thinking that if they get their name out there enough, that all of a sudden the money will start pouring in. And I really, you want to give away a lot. I give away a lot, right? Like I'm constantly creating content that really helps people. And a lot of those people just kind of take the free content and go. But you have to give away a lot to kind of prime the pump. But you always want to be sure that, one, you've got a way that people can pay to work with you and that you're making the ask on a daily basis. Otherwise, people lose sight of the fact that you're a business and they think you're almost like a preacher or something, right? And you're just showing up because it's your passion. And it's really important for us to get that right. And here's the way I tell business owners, you wouldn't raise your kids, hopefully you won't raise your kids to constantly demand money from you, right? You have to kind of let them know that the expectation is that they will wean themselves off of that and they will begin making their own money and becoming a profitable member of society. And in business, it's like we never quite get there. We keep thinking that we need to invest in our business. We need to put money in our business. We need to do this. And it's like we need to get really clear. Our business, by definition, is here to give us money, not the other way around. And we just need to shift our thinking about that. We need to demand that the work that we're doing and the energy we're putting into our business is producing a return. Otherwise, why do it, right? I can be broke on the beach somewhere. I don't need to be running a business and doing all these things that people do in order to be broke. I can do that on my own terms.
For sure. So what really holds people back in making, I like how you brought that up. You said make the ask on a daily basis. What is holding people back from asking? Is it that they don't really understand, how to sell, or is it they don't believe in themselves? Like what are some of the things that keeps them from asking?
I think there's many things that keep them from asking. Sometimes, especially in the expert market, they really don't know what they're selling, right? And so they have like a general kind of, I'll coach or I'll work with you, but they haven't really packaged it really well. So they don't feel real confident in what they're selling. And therefore, it's awkward to make the ask. The other thing is, I think they think it makes them look needy if they ask, right? If they say, hey, I can help you. And I just want to reframe that for your listeners, because it's actually very generous to offer to help someone, right? And when we're in business, if you see a problem that you know that you can solve, how greedy is it to walk away and not even make the ask and say, hey, I can help you with that? Like, those are really powerful words. I can help you with that. Those are golden words to your ideal target market, because they have problems that they are willing to invest in having solved. And they just want someone with an answer to say, I can help you with that. And so don't think of it as making you look needy or greedy. It's a very generous thing. You have a gift. If you're listening to this podcast, you've got a business, you've got a gift, you've got something to offer the world. And so we don't want to kind of hide that, right? There's like this old Sunday school song, don't hide your light under a bushel. And it's like, don't hide your gift. Let people know when you see and hear that they're having a problem that you can solve. For God's sakes, like, let them know, hey, I can help you with that. Here's a few different ways that we can go, and make selling something that is more aligned with service and generosity in your mind. So you don't get into the mindset of, oh, it's needy, I don't want them to feel pressured. You're not pressuring them. You're just giving them another option. And we appreciate options.
Wow, I love how you put that, Michelle. I think for many of the listeners, it may have kind of, hopefully the light bulb kind of went on and said, okay, yeah, now I need to start, making the ask on a daily basis. I was reading your website, and there was something that was very, very intriguing. You said you wrote the first ever business report based on marketing tactics of drug dealers and prostitutes. What's this all about?
Well, I'll tell you, I just want to be straight up. I've never been a drug dealer or a prostitute, just in case my mom's listening here, right? But
Hey, Mom.
Here's one thing. I'll tell you where this began for me is I was driving past a known drug dealer's house in my area. I was born and raised here. So I was driving past, and I was with my kids, and my kids noticed the house because it was really huge, and it had this pool off to the side with a great big slide. And so my kids are like, oh my God, I want one of those. And I know how that person got one of those, right? And I remember in that moment, I'm driving and I've got my 3 toddlers in the back seat, and I'm thinking, you know something? Drug dealers and prostitutes, they can't get their name out there, right? It's like quite disadvantaged. It's a big disadvantage to them to get their name out there. They can't. They're not at the Chamber of Commerce. They're not at NAWBO. They're not at the B&I meetings. They're not using business cards. And yet, somehow these drug dealers make it onto like the Forbes billionaire list, right? And somehow these prostitutes or people running these escort services are making millions. I'm not advocating what they're doing or what they're selling, but they've got something going on that we could learn from. And so I started just kind of digging deep into that and thinking, how do they do it? Well, they give out a sample, a lot of times a free sample, right? They give gifts with purchases. And I started like going into that world for a little bit. And I realized that what they do is they find people with a problem or find people willing to invest in, some sort of escape, and they offer it to them, and they are available. They also set rules according to how you can engage with them, right? So drug dealers might have their phone on only during certain periods of time. They only take referrals, from certain people. They have different ways of operating. And for legitimate businesses, we kind of ignore all that and we replace it with these weird systems that keep us really disengaged from the people that we serve. And so that's where that started. I don't know if that answers your full question, but
Yes.
That's really where it started. It was just an aha moment for me, and I decided to share it.
Well, it definitely caught my attention, and as you're describing the house, I'm trying to picture what that house would look like in my mind, with the big slide and stuff. Now, would you take your children there for trick or treating?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't take them there for trick-or-treating. And
Just so you can peek in the house and see what kind of furniture they have.
yeah, and I didn't take them there to swim either. But I was driving
swim.
past and I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, I've got something really great that doesn't kill people and doesn't destroy families. And like, why am I struggling with money and he's not? And so it's just kind of a little bit of a turning point, frankly, in my business.
Right, for sure. Now, with your business being online, what are a couple of things that's helped you to really grow and just kind of start to gain traction with your followers?
I will tell you, and it's an unpopular answer. I actually just wrote an article about it today. But, here's something I do. I show up and I show up every day, and I show up ready to educate, inspire, and equip my tribe for greater success and greater freedom in their business. The key really, if you want traction, if you want to grow a following, like one, you've got to be worth following, right? And if you're worth following, you're showing up every day. And, that can sometimes get messy. I might have, spelling errors on my website. I almost certainly do. But showing up every day, I don't know that there's a substitute for that. And the truth is, if you really are called to do what you do, if you're really passionate about what you do, like, do you really want a bunch of days off? Like, I don't think so. And so even though it's summer months and I travel a lot and I go on vacations and stuff, like, I'm still showing up every day. Now, some of it might be pre-recorded or automated or whatever, but I'm showing up every day, and there is no replacement to that. So that's one of my best tips. And it's also one of my most unpopular, because what people want is they want to be able to write a epic blog post once a week and get this massive following. And I say, sure, write the epic blog post once a week, but also show up in different ways every single day, so that you are putting that spotlight on yourself and you are showing more of yourself, and you're getting to know your market in a deeper way, and they're getting to know you on a daily basis. And so I remember learning in family and child development. I was in that class actually with my husband. We just celebrated our 18th wedding anniversary yesterday, and we were in this family and marriage class. Thank you. And I remember hearing the first thing, it said, the number one predictor of who you're going to marry is proximity, right? It's not like faith or values or whatever. It's proximity. And so in business, the same thing applies. Who are you going to buy from? The number one predictor is proximity. Who are you seeing, right? Who are you seeing? Who is showing up? And you want to be that person, because you never know when somebody's ready to buy, but you want them to find you in that moment. So I'm not saying you have to be everywhere. And I'm not saying, like, I have a very, very tight rein on my schedule so that I have ample time. I've got 3 teenage kids. I have ample time with my husband. He's actually a public school teacher, so he's home all summer. I work very short hours, honestly. But I've grown this international business, this multi-six-figure business on my own terms, but I do show up every day in some way. So I think that's the best piece of advice I can give.
Yeah, well, people get so excited about their new idea, their venture, their coaching program, and then they're on there every day for maybe a couple of weeks, and then it kind of drops down a little bit, and then a little bit further, and then people show up on your website and they're like, "Oh, there's the last blog was 6 months ago."
Right.
And so that really turns people off, and they're going to think that you're just not dedicated, and you're probably not the person for them.
Absolutely. And they also just look for something that's recent, especially, well, in anything, right? Business, health, love, like there's new rules being written every day and new things being discovered every day. And so, if you are going to look for, let's say, a resource for your business, and it's 6 months ago, I mean, do you know how much has changed in the last 6 months, right? It seems like archaic. And so, yeah, I think it's very important to not just, have the content out there that's current, but also keep the relationship current. Keep showing up so that people feel like they know you. And as you know, with a podcast, and I'm actually starting a podcast, but I don't have it yet. But people feel like they know you. They see you at a conference, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you show up on my live stream. You're on my blog, and I feel like I know you." And that's really what you're going for. Business success is you can do it however you want. You can do it on your own terms, but all of it, regardless of industry, regardless of experience level, regardless of the technology that changes, all of it is built on relationships, just like the drug dealer and prostitute report, right? It's all based on relationships. That is what makes the world go round. And so showing up every day really dramatically deepens your connection with your market.
Well, I can't rave enough about podcasting. There is probably no other medium that helps develop that intimate relationship. I mean, it's been an incredible journey for me. I haven't been doing it very long. I'm this week I'll be 50 episodes in.
Oh,
and
wow.
it has brought me more notoriety. I've had more connections. I've connected with just so many people in entertainment, in business, and professional sports. And I would have never had those opportunities if it wasn't for podcasting. And I published a book back in 2007, and I gained just a little bit of traction. But in all that time, the 10 years, I never gained as much momentum or of a following, or, have just been noted to be kind of an influence in this little small domain of mine. Podcasting has done everything. And so you're in the right track choosing podcasting, because it definitely helps develop that personal, intimate connection with your listeners.
Thank you. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know why I don't have it done yet, because I'm absolutely convinced. One of my good friends and one of our Women Who Wow members is Ramona Rice, who, if you're in podcasting, you might know. Mm-hmm. I remember her, she spoke at my conference in Dallas, and she said, podcasting is intimate. They actually put you inside their ears, right? And that just really spoke to me and got me all excited. And it also gives your tribe a different way to consume content. And I'm definitely going to get up. Give me 30 days. I'll have it up and I'll shoot you a link, because, one of the things when I am following someone and they don't have a podcast, what a hypocrite I am, because I get irritated with them, right? Why? Because I want to take them with me on my walks and on my jogs. Like, I want to be able to multitask and do that. And I want to be able to consume my content the way I want and what's convenient for me. And here I am not offering it to my people. So you have further convinced me, and I just need to get my butt into gear and make it happen.
Yeah, they can consume it while they're running, while they're walking the dog, right, while they're sitting in their office, while they're driving, you name it, sitting on the beach. They can, just have you in their ear and just filling them, full of all your wisdom. So definitely jump on that. Now, Michelle, when did you first realize that you had this inner entrepreneur?
I'll be honest with you. I've always had the mindset about money. I grew up very, very, very working class, and I put myself through college, and I've always kind of had this mindset of, like, if I need money, I'll make it, right? Like, I'll pick up an extra shift waiting tables, or I'll pick up an extra few hours at my day job or whatever. And so I've always kind of had that entrepreneurial mindset, but it was always also tied to a job. And I never set out to become a business owner. I live in a very rural, small town. They don't even offer a business license here, honestly, even still today, but certainly 18 years ago. I'm pregnant. I was absolutely committed to not using daycare or childcare or family to help me raise my kids. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be here for every moment. And I'm married to a public school teacher. And while he's one of the best, he doesn't get paid for being the best. And so we couldn't financially make it without me doing something. And I didn't know what that looked like. Remember, 18 years ago, nobody had websites. Nobody was using email. And, to work from home was very suspicious, frankly, right? It was like something that you work from home. This is very different back then. And so, honestly, that first year, my goal was to just cobble together an income. I didn't consider myself a small business owner. I just was like making money from home. That's what I would say. And in that first year, I called myself an at-home secretary, because the term virtual assistant hadn't been created yet. And so, but somewhere in that first year, I didn't love the work. I'm an awful secretary, right? But somewhere in that first year, like, the entrepreneurial bug just caught me, and I'm like, oh my God, I am a self-bosser. This is the way everyone should live. Why doesn't everybody do this? And I was on fire for small business. Like, I just can't imagine people who literally will go to a job every day. And even my own husband, who's an amazing employee, when he walks out the door every day to go and have an agenda set for him, it breaks a little piece of my heart. And so that was really just the first year. I never really, I never set out to be a small business owner, and certainly not a small business coach. I just kind of fell into it.
Wow. Well, you talked about it kind of being strange, back when you started. They probably threw you in that kind of same category as the drug dealer.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I remember buying this cassette tape that I saw advertised in Good Morning America, and it literally played call center sounds so that no one would suspect I worked from home. When I talked to them, it sounded like I was in this busy call center. And so you did all sorts of things to hide, the fact that you're working from home.
Right, for sure. Now, Michelle, let's move into the dig round, and I'm going to ask you 3 quick questions, and just don't put a lot of thought into your answers. What keeps you motivated?
Success and failure, both of them motivate me to keep me getting back in the ring and taking another swing.
Okay. Now, who do you look up to as a business leader?
That's easy. My dad is an amazing entrepreneur now. He wasn't when I was a kid, but he's amazing. Dan Kennedy of GKIC.com and Steve Chandler, who has written so many books, and you got to just get your hands on any one of them, will change your life.
Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of books, if you had to choose one, Street Smarts or Book Smarts, which one is for you?
Street smarts, absolutely, with no question. You know, in business, you're going to be battle tested, and a book just can't teach you how to take a punch and get back up. So, street smarts, hands down.
For sure. Now, since you've been on this journey and you've started your own kind of mini empire there, what has been kind of one of the most challenging moments mentally for you, and how were you able to overcome it?
This is an easy one for me. I do host live, like multi-day events for my Women Who Wow members all over the country. And there is nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing more taxing than putting on your own live event. You've got to plan it, you've got to market it, you've got to fill it, you've got to go over every detail with the hotels. On the flip side, events that are sold out and well done are, always amazing for your business. They take your business in places you couldn't go otherwise. But it's so taxing on me, and also, if I were to be completely honest, my family. And so how did I kind of overcome it? I had to be aware of my own stress level. I had to get support to help me with making these events happen. And I also had to carve out time before every event just for promotion to keep my stress level down. And so I wasn't a nightmare to be around. But, hands down, that's what the most mentally taxing for me. I'm not particularly organized by nature, and so this really challenges me. And I had to start arranging my life and my day and my schedule so that it didn't just kind of overtake me and have me lashing out at my kids and being a bear to be around. So.
Well, it must be very fulfilling to have, a successful live event, and I'm sure there's a lot that goes into it. Did you go to Disney after to kind of decompress?
I didn't. No, I was in Dallas. And do they have a Disney in Dallas?
No, I think you have to go to LA or California
Oh, yeah.
or Orlando.
No. So my kids are teenagers, and they didn't even really love Disney when they were little. Of course, we didn't watch a lot of TV back then either, so they didn't know a lot of the new people. But I do always schedule a couple days of downtime, just spa time and relaxation time after every event, so that I can just kind of refresh and rejuvenate and take stock of what was accomplished and plan for what's next.
Well, it sounds like a great way to recharge your batteries. Now, looking back, what would you say is one of the most memorable moments as an entrepreneur?
I would say two memorable moments. The first was when I realized that I had, in fact, replaced my full-time income that first year in business. I realized that in that moment, I could do it, that this wasn't some pipe dream, that I wouldn't have to leave my kids in daycare and get a job. So that was a major, major moment for me. And the other moment came much later, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, when I truly got that I could control my own income, right? And that was something I could control exactly how much money I made. That was a huge moment. It changed everything for me because I didn't feel like I was just, trying to earn what I could or earn what was possible. I could set a number, I could sell a bunch of stuff, and I could meet it, and I could still do it on my own terms. That was a changing moment. If I thought I was in love with entrepreneurship back 18 years ago, it had nothing, compared to the moment I realized that we really do make our own rules, write our own paychecks, and this is a life that any of us can create. If I can do it, certainly anyone can do it. So that was another one.
And there's nothing more fulfilling. Well, Michelle, you have been a fantastic guest, and we've come to the end of the show. But before we go, tell the listeners where they can find you online and follow you on social media.
Awesome. So I want every seriously driven women entrepreneur who's listening to this, I want you to be a part of Women Who Wow. So you can come over to planetwow.club and you can request to join our private member-only Facebook group, and we'll let you in just for a few weeks just so you can get the feel and you can know that this tribe of women is actually around and they're just like you. And so planetwow.club. And I'm always, of course, on my blog, bmichellepippin.com or facebook.com/women who wow. That's our Facebook page. And I'm on there every day showing up and just adding value. But for any of your business owners who are listening, if you're a woman, then if you want to join Women Who Wow, our doors are actually closed right now to new members, and we'll open them, sometime in the fall again. But when we open it, it'll be $97 a month and not $37. And so if you're listening to this and you say, you know what, I want to be around women like me, I want to be around successful women entrepreneurs, then just email me, michelle@womenwhowow.com, and I'll send you a live link that you can join, and also grandfather yourself into the $37 a month rate. And we give so much for that $37. It's crazy. It's even includes one-on-one time with me. So just mention you heard me on the Tim Laskus show.
Tim Laskus, yes.
Tim Laskus, and we'll set you right up.
Awesome. Fantastic. It sounds like a wonderful deal. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Pippin, just thank you for coming on the show, and I look forward to following you on your journey.
Awesome. And I will definitely let you know when I get this podcast up and running. I've got everything except the actual podcast. I've got the artwork. I've got the editing team. I've got everything. I just need to put myself in front of this microphone and get it done.
There you go. You're right on the edge. It's time to just kick that ball and go after it.
That's right. Thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate you having me here.
Thank you, Michelle.
Want more entrepreneurial tips? Go to timlaskus.com.